about Mike Huckabee sticking up for Todd Akin, and about Newt Gingrich has come out strong for Todd Akin. And remember, Karl Rove is out there joking about dumping Todd Akin's body in a swamp somewhere. He's laughing and joking about this with top Republican donors. So they've thrown Todd Akin out of the big tent. They've pushed him on the platform, under the train, and Karl Rove's joking about murdering the guy. I mean, that's what he's joking about. And he apologized. He called Todd Akin and apologized, said, hey, I didn't know there were reporters there. I wouldn't have said what I said if I'd known that there was a reporter there. So here is Newt Gingrich on a Sunday morning talk show talking about these inexcusable comments from Karl Rove. Here's clip one.
I think Todd Akin was the choice of the people of Missouri. I think Todd Akin has publicly apologized. And I think that, and the last poll shows he's beating the Democratic senator. I think that we ought to go on from that. Karl Rove said some terrible things on Friday for which he has apologized, which should remind us. People make mistakes. Vice President of the United States...
He was joking about if he shows up, murdered somewhere.
No, and in the age of Gabby Giffords, it is not a joke to say that a member of Congress ought to get murdered.
Yeah.
And I'm frankly fed up with the one-sided bias, okay? Let me give you two examples. Vice President of the United States goes to a black audience and says, if the Republicans win, you will be in chains. Now, how can Biden remain as vice president? Where's the outrage over deliberate racism? You know, we talk about people saying things they ought to get off tickets. How come Biden shouldn't get off a ticket?
So that's Newt Gingrich, pretty upset. There's some energy and some animation there, and good for him for sticking up for Todd Akin. And then he talks about the abortion issue in this second clip. And realize, again, the Democratic platform was posted online today. It's going to be officially adopted probably this afternoon, maybe already been officially adopted. And it completely eliminates, Bill Clinton said, I want abortion to be safe, legal, and rare. This platform eliminates the word rare because this batch of Democrats, they do not want abortion to be rare. They want it to be abundant. They want it to be profuse. They want the abortion industry to grow by leaps and bounds. So they're the extremist party because 62% of the American people, according to I think it was a CNN poll, 62% of the American people believe that abortion ought to be illegal under all or most circumstances. So the view that it ought to be available anytime for any reason and that the taxpayers ought to support it. I think over 70% of the American people disapprove of taxpayer funding for abortions. They say, look, if people are going to have an abortion, if we can't stop, if it's going to be legal, they ought to pay for it out of their own pocket. We shouldn't be forced to pay for abortions when it violates our own conscience. So here's Newt Gingrich doing a pretty good job of laying out the difference here. Let's listen.
The Democratic Party plank on abortion is the most extreme plank in the United States. The President of the United States voted 3 times to protect the right of doctors to kill babies who came out of an abortion still alive. That plank says tax-paid abortion at any moment meaning partial birth abortion. That's a 20% issue. The vast majority of women do not believe that taxpayers should pay to abort a child in the 8th and 9th month. Now, why isn't it shocking that the Democrats on the social issue of abortion have taken the most extreme position in this country, and they couldn't defend that position for a day if it was made clear and vivid as all the effort is made to paint Republicans.
So that's Newt Gingrich's pretty strong statement on the issue of sanctity of human life. Now let's drop back to clip number 5. Bill Richardson, former governor of New Mexico. He's one of the luminaries in the Democratic constellation, and he is talking about the fact, basically admitting President Obama has got a real challenge being reelected this year in America. They've got a huge problem right now at the DNC because he's scheduled to give his acceptance speech on Thursday night in a 74,000-seat stadium. They're frantically out there trying to talk churches into busing people in there because they are desperately afraid there are going to be rows upon rows, entire sections of that football stadium that have nobody sitting in them. And I predict that there's rain forecast for the rest of the week in Charlotte. My guess is the Democrats are just going to preemptively say, look, we're concerned about weather. We're going to move this thing inside because we care about people. We want to get rained on. The real reason is that they want to avoid the abject total embarrassment of having nobody in the stadium when he gives his acceptance speech. Here is Bill Richardson talking about where Barack Obama's true base is. Let's listen.
The president's not running overseas, but everywhere you go, all around the world, and I travel a lot, the international community wants to see this president reelected.
So that's Bill Richardson. So if that's the case, then perhaps Barack Obama should resign the presidency and run to be the president of the UN. 82% of the people in France want Barack Obama reelected. So maybe he ought to move to France and run for president somewhere where he is wanted. Now, this is clip number 6. Republican Party did a good job of taking excerpts from Barack Obama's campaign speeches in 2008 and running them right alongside campaign speeches from 2012. And so what you'll hear in this soundbite, the first is an excerpt from a 2008 speech, and then you'll hear an excerpt from a 2012 speech. So President Obama, apparently such an environmentalist, he's even recycling his speeches. Let's listen.
These are the steps that we must take
There are plenty of steps we can take
right now
to
start getting our economy back on track.
to help create jobs and grow this economy.
If we are going to deal with our dependence on foreign oil,
If we're going to end our dependence on foreign oil,
We'll recruit an army of new teachers.
I want to recruit an army of new teachers.
Make college affordable.
Make college more affordable and repair our crumbling roads and bridges. We've got crumbling roads and bridges. Tonight, more Americans are out of work. We still got friends out there, family, who are looking for work.
At a time when so many people are struggling to keep up.
A moment when so many people are still struggling. If you are willing to work with me,
If you're willing to work even harder in this election,
then I promise you,
then I promise you change will come.
So that's Barack Obama. Ladies and gentlemen, he's out of ideas. He's saying the same things in 2012 he said in 2008 because the problems are not only the same, they are worse. He's got no track record to run on. All he's got is empty cliches and empty ideas. Now, Paul Ryan made a point of saying that Barack Obama went to an auto plant in Janesville, Wisconsin, his hometown, and made a promise that that plant would be open for 100 years if people elected him. And the left-wing media came after Paul Ryan. The fact-checkers came after him, saying that Paul Ryan accused Barack Obama of shutting down that plant. Paul Ryan never did that. He simply said Barack Obama made a promise to the people that work at this plant that he did not keep. And here is that promise out of Barack Obama's own lips, 2008, the promise that he made to this auto plant in Janesville, Wisconsin that was closed less than 3 months after he took office. Let's listen.
I believe that if our government is there to support you and give you the assistance you need to retool and make this transition, that this plant will be here for another 100 years.
So there's Barack Obama. Look, if you elect me, this plant's going to be here for the next 100 years. It didn't last 3 months under Obama's leadership as president. Number to call, 888-589-8840 if you want to join the program. A rapper by the name of Nicki Minaj, I don't know who she is, never heard her music, but she came out for Mitt Romney, and the left just completely came unhinged. And Twitter was full of tweets wanting her to die. Somebody please kill her. Calling her an Uncle Tom burp. She can die too. She's got to die. So the compassionate left coming out against a rapper that dared to endorse Mitt Romney. Back in 2.